Hey guys, how are you? Just thought I'd do a video on some maintenance side of things with the old cruiser here. For those that own a 100 series, 105 series, 80 series, 1FZ-FE petrol. Pretty common problem with these is they leak oil out of the front harmonic balancer seal and also the oil pump cover O-ring. Now I'm just about to do mine. I thought I'd document it, might be able to help a few people out. Save yourself a few dollars at home, do it yourself if you've got some basic tools. It's not too bad of a job, and I'll run you through with the seals and how to do it. Oil pump cover O-ring, harmonic balancer seal, front crank seal. I'll get into it. So I'll just pop this bash plate out and I'll show you where mine's actually leaking from. Just leaking out the bottom corner. So I've just taken both my batteries out, dual battery on this side and starter battery on this side. Just going to make it a lot easier to get to the radiator bolts. So as you can see, it's sitting nice and low. Just got it on the jack stands in their lowest position. Going to make it a lot easier to work on. Height wise, you can get in there pretty easy, so we'll get to it. Alright, so I'm just going to pop the overflow bottle out, pop that off. So I've taken all the bolts off the fan, just left one on there just so it doesn't fall into the radiator and bend the fins. So once we get that overflow bottle out, you see just down here where my finger is, if you can see, there's just a little clip for one of the trans or cool lines. So we'll just unclip that, and either side of the radiator you've got a 12mm bolt down the bottom there, and also a 12mm just in here. Should be able to get it without taking the front grill out. So give a bit of a spray with some CRC because they've probably never been out in a long time. So and the other one just down in here. So we'll get to that and we'll get it out. Just come underneath, give these two bottom 12mm bolts a bit of a spray. So we'll just jump in here and we'll get these two upper radiator bolts. And drop the nuts. As you can see, they're just like a big endless bolt with a nut on them. Just sit in a rubber bush. So I'm just about to get this radiator shroud out of the way and the fan. You've got one bolt up the top on both sides, and then you've got two down this side, one here, one just down the bottom. Just pop the fan off. You should come out with your shroud at the same time. So once you get your shroud and your fan out, you can obviously get to your bottom radiator hose a lot easier. I'll just show you guys these two bottom oil lines that go to the radiator on both sides. The clamps are very hard to get off, so just be patient with them, take your time. Let's give them a bit of a twist with some multi grips. Once I get a bit of oil on them, they actually twist really easy. I've just got a couple of bolts I'm just going to block them off with. If you've got some hose clamps, you can use those. It's probably a little bit easier, but that's all I've got for now. So we'll get those off and then we'll get the radiator out. So I'm just going to take those two bolts out, the bottom of the radiator, both sides, and then we should be able to get the radiator out. Now there's a little bracket just holding both the lines that go to the oil cooler for the trans. There's two bolts at the front, but I'll just leave it there. Should be able to just slide it up and go to the left and it should come out. So there we go. Alright guys, so I've just got the two bottom bolts out. Now the rubbers do get a little bit stuck, so just like sort of pull it up from the side, both sides, and it should just pop out. And then we'll see how we go. So this is the little bracket just down the side here that's actually stopping me getting it out. So like I said before, two 10mm nuts, and we'll pop that out the way and we should be good to get it out. Now we've got our radiator out, we can get to everything else a little bit easier. So probably the next step I'm going to do is take the aircon belt off, and then we'll take our alternator and water pump pulleys off. So just down behind here is our oil pump cover. So take this pulley off. While we're here we can check the bearings, see what they feel like, and have a look. Once we get this pulley off, we'll have a look at the water pump, make sure the telltale's not leaking or anything. While we're here, if we need to put a water pump on it, we'll do that at the same time. And yeah, these are known to be very, very tight to get off, so we'll see how we go with that in a minute. But get all this other stuff off first and we'll go from there. So with our aircon belt, all I've done is back this nut off here on the pulley, and there's a bolt, so just that back there, it just slides up and down, so I've just backed that off. It should be enough to just put the belt off. So that's nice and easy. This one should come off okay. So once we get to this stage, I'm just going to take the idler pulley off. As you can see, there's lots of you know, oil and grease and dirt covered around the front of the timing cover. So just a good little trick is what I'm going to do, give this really good clean around here, just brake clean it off, give it a bit of a brush, just before I go pulling this off. Obviously once you get this off, if you give it a clean, everything's just going to fall in the bottom of the engine. So plus I want these screws that I'm going to get to nice and clean, and we'll get in there and get it all apart. Let's give that a bit of a brush and another spray and it should be good. Alright, as you can see, I've given that a nice clean down there, so now you can actually see all the screws, with all the oil, grease. So what I've actually done is I've spun a crank around. Now I've lined this up just with the center, doesn't matter where you put it. I'm hoping that the keyway on the harmonic balancer is going to be facing up. This way, when I take this off, it doesn't fall in the bottom of the sump. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Now for those wondering, it's a 30mm socket. So there's a few different ways you can do this. I'm just going to use a rattle gun straight on there. Now the drum I've just run into, I've just tried to get the rattle gun in here, and unfortunately it's hitting up against the the condenser. So I'm just going to have to undo a couple of bolts in here, I reckon. There's probably going to be one behind here, and there's another little bracket just under here. That one there. Just enough to move this back a little bit, just so I can get the gun in there and hopefully get that undone. But I'll move this out of the way, and then we'll try to get that harmonic balancer off. Alright, as you can see guys, there's not much room behind that and the rattle gun. All I've done is taken 2 bolts out of here, move this back just a little bit, and we'll see how we go. I just got the gun out, take the harmonic balancer bolt out. Luckily that was pretty easy to get out. That's it. They should just come off by hand, hopefully. And like I said before, with that timing mark, I thought that this would have been up the top, which it's not. So what I'm going to do is, before I touch it, just put it back on, spin it around half a turn, and hope that that doesn't fall out. So what I've done from where that line was is just put a texture mark here and on the bottom. Now I'm just going to spin it round until this line comes back up to the top. About there we should be good. Let's crack that back off. Now keyway should be back up the top. There's, probably can't see from that angle, but that's it just there, so at least I know it's not going to fall out now. Good thing to check as well when you get these off is just make sure the rubber's not cracked around there. That's the main part, is where they crack and move, just from old age, vibration, heat, and whatnot. So that one looks in pretty good nick, so we won't have to worry about replacing it. Just noticed a bit of a difference between the seal that I've got and this genuine one. So this genuine one's got a lip, comes out and seals on the back of the harmonic balancer, and I might even actually look at getting a genuine one, because this one hasn't been leaking. It's done 250,000, so we'll get that out and have a look. Sorry about the mower noise guys, it's the neighbours, not much I can do about that, but anyway, I'll try and speak a bit louder. So what I've done is I've gone around, give each one of these a hit with a punch and a hammer. I've got the new screwdriver bit. Now I've gone around and hit each one again with the screwdriver bit, and I'm just going to get an 8mm socket on there and see if they come out. We'll see how we go. I'll just give that a bit of a tap and it should come off. I've actually just noticed something. This adjuster screw for the alternator is actually cutting into that. I don't know if you guys can see. You guys have never seen an oil pump. That's what they look like on these. That's the cover I just popped off. Just make sure you've got a
something underneath to catch your oil. Obviously you're going to lose a little bit once you take your cover off. And here's our O-ring. Runs around the outside of the cover. So we'll get that one out, get the new one back in. We'll give this cover a good clean up and make sure there's no marks or anything on it. So here's our oil pump cover. Now I don't know if you can see in the camera view, but you actually see the machining marks from where it's been machined from new. And if you run your nail over that stain, you can actually feel it. So what I'm going to do is get just some red Scotch Brite pad, just run around that surface and give that a bit of a clean up, just to get rid of that bit of a stain there you can feel on your nail. So that's an oil pump cover. Give that a clean up and we'll get the old O-ring out, like the new one in, and put it back together. Another little thing what I'm going to do is the screws that sit in here had a little bit of just corrosion powder on them, so I'm just going to give those a good clean up as well, just so they torque up nice. And I actually ran my finger around where the O-ring sits in the actual the case, and there's not much protrusion on it, so it's obviously fairly worn out, but it was only leaking in that bottom corner there. So all the screws are tight, and we'll get this cleaned up and get it back together. Another thing what you could do if it is really bad when you get it off is just get if you've got like a brand new stone, you can buy it from tool shops, or just like a sharpening stone, you could run it around it as well. A little bit of CRC. Mine's not bad. Alright, so our oil pump cover is back in. All I did with the O-ring was just wipe around with some brake cleaner and a rag, make sure that groove was nice and clean. Put a little bit of Vaseline on the new O-ring, just to make it stick in there. You don't need much, just a tiny bit. Set it in there, made sure the cover's all nice and clean, screws were clean, put it all back in. I've just torqued them up by hand. You don't need to get too rowdy on them, you know, just nip them up. New O-ring's obviously going to take up the little bit of gap there, so that's all back on. Just another little quick thing on the seal before I go pulling this one out. This one actually wasn't leaking. I knew it wasn't leaking. I knew that the oil was actually leaking out of this oil pump cover, so while I had it apart, good idea to do a new one. So we'll come over to the bench and I'll show you that one. So with the harmonic balancer, just before I go pulling that other seal out, just want to make sure that the new one's going to fit. So this is our new one. Obviously fits on there pretty nice. It's going to be nice and tight. That's the part number for the new one, 97801, if anyone's wondering. So I'll give that a bit of a clean up. Good thing to check is just if it's got any grooves on the harmonic balancer, just where it seals on the seal. This one's fine, there's no marks on it. Just make sure it's nice and clean. A little bit of grease or a little bit of Vaseline on the inside. You can always use a little bit on the outside when you install it as well. Obviously just a big socket, something that fits that nice, just to tap it in. We'll go and get the old one out. So just sort of show you quickly, this is the genuine seal, this is the aftermarket one. As you can see, this one's got a lip face on it, which is going to seal out any dirt or water. So once it's on there, it's going to sit about there. It is a good idea having that on there. This is all I've got at the moment. This is all I'm going to use. A little bit cheaper than obviously a genuine one. But yeah, the way that I got this one out was just a screwdriver. I don't like to do it this way. I've normally got a seal puller. I just put it in there, just pry it slightly on that side, then swap over to the other side. They normally just do come out, so just be careful that you don't put your screwdriver down in there and actually score where it seals up against. But other than that, pretty straightforward. We'll get the new one in and get it back together. If you've got a 50mm socket or something similar, that's what I'm going to use to knock it in with. Put the socket on there and just give it a nice little tap, and just till it goes home you'll see it when it's nice and flush. Right, so seals all the way home, our harmonic balance is on. All I did was put a little bit of Vaseline just around the leading edge of the balancer, just so when it slides in it doesn't grab the seal. And, put our bolt back in, close to 300 Newton meters I think they are by memory. I'm just going to give it a couple of ugga-dugs with the old rattle gun. That's all it took to get it off, so that's all it's getting to go back on. Like I said before, while you're here, check your water pump, see what the bearing feels like, alternator.
So that's me done with the old girl for today. You know, hopefully I can help some people out there. If you feel like doing this sort of thing at home, like, it's not hard, basic tools. You know, take your time, look at things, make sure everything's nice and clean. You won't have a drama. But thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.